Hello, dear friend. Tonight you are not a king, you are not a knight, you are not a wealthy lord. You are simply a poor farmer living in medieval England. Before this peaceful day comes to an end, you will discover why this ordinary life was far more difficult than most people could ever imagine. So, dim the lights, get comfortable, take one slow, deep breath, and let the worries of today quietly drift away. Now, imagine the year is 1250. The first light of dawn has not yet reached the village. A cool mist hangs over the muddy roads. Tiny wooden cottages rest silently beneath the fading stars. Only the distant sound of a church bell echoes across the quiet countryside. The air smells of wet earth, fresh grass, and wood smoke rising from a few sleeping homes. Inside one small cottage, you slowly open your eyes. Your bed is nothing more than a sack of straw covered by a rough wool blanket. The room is cold. The wooden walls creak softly in the morning breeze. There is no electricity, no warm shower, no soft mattress, no hot coffee waiting for you. Only another ordinary day. A day filled with hard work, simple food, and quiet determination. You take a slow breath, push open the heavy wooden door, and step into the peaceful morning of medieval England, where your long journey is only just beginning. The morning is still quiet. A light mist lingers between the cottages, softening every shape and every sound. You pause for a moment and look across the village. Nothing here feels rushed. No engines, no loud voices. Only the gentle chirping of birds and the distant call of a rooster welcoming another day. The path beneath your feet is damp from last night's rain. Every step leaves a fresh footprint in the soft mud. A thin ribbon of smoke curls from a nearby chimney. Someone has already lit a small fire for breakfast. The comforting smell of burning oak wood drifts through the cool air. You pull your worn wool cloak a little tighter around your shoulders. The morning breeze is colder than you expected. It slips through every stitch of your simple clothes. Comfort is a rare luxury in this world. As you continue walking, you pass your neighbors. A woman carries two heavy wooden buckets toward the village well. An elderly man slowly repairs a broken fence with rough pieces of timber. Two young children chase a wandering chicken across the muddy road, laughing quietly before disappearing behind a cottage. Life here is simple. Every person has work to do. Every hour matters. No one wastes time. Soon you arrive at the old village well. Its thick wooden frame has stood here for generations. The rope feels rough against your hands as you lower the bucket into the darkness below. For a few quiet seconds, there is only silence. Then, a gentle splash. The bucket reaches the cold water. You slowly pull it back to the surface. It feels surprisingly heavy. Clean water is precious. Every drop must be carried home by hand. There are no pipes, no running taps, only patient hands and steady effort. With the full bucket balanced carefully, you begin the slow walk back to your cottage. The weight presses against your tired arms, but this is simply another part of daily life. Back inside, the cottage is still cool and dim. Yesterday's fire has almost gone out. Only a few glowing embers remain beneath the ashes. You kneel beside the hearth. Carefully, you place dry straw and a few small sticks on top. A tiny spark from a piece of flint catches the straw. Slowly, very slowly, a warm orange flame begins to grow. The room fills once again with the familiar scent of burning wood. You place a black iron pot above the fire. Inside is a little water, a handful of oats, and nothing more. It is a humble breakfast, simple, plain, but enough to begin another long day in medieval England. Outside, the morning mist is finally beginning to disappear. Golden sunlight spreads gently across the fields. The village is fully awake now, and somewhere beyond those quiet hills, a long day of hard work is waiting for you.
The simple breakfast disappears quickly. A small bowl of warm oat porridge, a piece of dark rye bread, and a few quiet moments beside the fire. It is not a feast, it is only enough to keep you moving until midday. You carefully place the wooden bowl back on the shelf. Nothing is wasted in this little cottage. Not the bread, not the firewood, not even a single drop of water. Outside, the village is now alive. Smoke rises from every chimney. Doors open one by one. Neighbors quietly greet each other with a simple nod. There is little time for conversation. The fields are waiting. You lift your wooden hoe onto your shoulder. A small cloth bag hangs from your belt. Inside, a piece of bread, a little cheese, and an onion. That will be your only meal until the day's work is done. The muddy road stretches ahead of you. Each step feels familiar. You have walked this same path hundreds of times before. Morning sunlight slowly pushes away the last traces of mist. Golden light washes over the rolling green hills. Wildflowers bloom beside the narrow path. Tiny birds flutter from bush to bush. For a brief moment, the countryside feels peaceful enough to forget how difficult life truly is. As you leave the village behind, the sound of people slowly fades away. Now, only the wind moves through the tall grass. In the distance, a pair of oxen pull a heavy wooden plough across a field. The slow rhythm of their footsteps echoes through the quiet morning. Nearby, a shepherd quietly watches his flock of sheep. Nothing moves quickly here. Everything follows the steady rhythm of nature. The seasons decide everything. A warm spring brings hope. A cold winter brings hunger. A poor harvest can change an entire village. There are no supermarkets, no delivery trucks. Every loaf of bread begins here, in these peaceful fields. You finally arrive at the farmland. Several farmers are already working. Nobody complains, nobody rushes. Each person simply begins another ordinary day. You take a slow breath. The fresh scent of damp soil fills the air. The earth is cool beneath your boots. Clouds drift lazily across the blue sky. For just a moment, you stand quietly. looking across the endless fields of medieval England. Soon your hands will ache, your back will grow tired, the sun will climb high overhead. But for now, the morning is calm, the world is silent, and another quiet chapter of history is about to begin. Close your eyes, breathe slowly, and let the peaceful rhythm of this forgotten world carry you gently towards sleep.
The first task of the day begins quietly. You grip the smooth wooden handle of your hoe. Its surface has become polished over the years, not by careful craftsmanship, but by countless hours of tired hands. The ground is still damp from yesterday's rain. Each swing of the hoe breaks the heavy soil a little more. The work is slow, steady, repetitive. There are no machines to help you, no engines humming in the distance, only the soft sound of metal meeting earth, again and again and again. Around you, other farmers work in silence. A few exchange quiet greetings. Most save their energy for the long hours ahead. An old man bends carefully over a row of young crops. A young woman carries a basket filled with fresh seeds. A teenage boy guides two patient oxen pulling a heavy wooden plow. Every person knows their task. Every movement has been repeated thousands of times before. The morning sun climbs higher into the sky. The cool air slowly disappears. Warm sunlight settles across the fields. Tiny insects drift through the tall grass. A gentle breeze carries the scent of fresh soil and wildflowers. For a moment, it almost feels peaceful enough to forget how difficult this life truly is. But your hands already begin to ache. Your shoulders grow heavy. Your back feels stiff from bending over the earth. Still, you continue. There is no other choice. If the fields are not cared for, there will be no harvest. Without a harvest, there will be little food for winter. Every seed placed into the soil carries hope. Hope for bread. Hope for survival. Hope that the coming months will be kinder than the last. High above, white clouds drift lazily across the endless blue sky. A flock of birds circles over the fields before disappearing toward the distant forest. The village church bell rings once again. Its gentle sound reminds everyone that another hour has quietly passed. Time moves differently here, not by clocks, but by sunlight, by seasons, and by the changing colors of the fields. You pause for a single deep breath. You wipe the sweat from your brow. Then, without a word, you return to your work. The rhythm continues, slow, quiet, endless, just as it has for generations. And somewhere beyond the rolling hills, the afternoon is waiting patiently, bringing with it another chapter in the peaceful, ordinary life of medieval England.
At last, the church bell rings once more. Not to end the day, only to remind the village that midday has quietly arrived. You rest the wooden hoe against an old oak tree. Your arms feel heavy. Your shoulders ache. Your hands are rough from hours of working the soil. Yet this is nothing unusual. It is simply another ordinary day. You find a small patch of shade beneath the ancient branches. The cool breeze feels gentle against your face. For the first time today, you allow yourself to sit down. The world suddenly becomes very quiet. Only the rustling leaves above, the distant songs of birds, and the soft whisper of the wind moving across the wheat fields. You untie the small linen bag hanging from your belt. Inside, there is a piece of coarse rye bread, a small slice of hard cheese, one onion, and a wooden cup filled with cool well water. It is a simple meal, perhaps too simple by modern standards, but to a farmer in medieval England, it is enough. You break the bread slowly. Its crust is hard. Its texture is heavy. Nothing like the soft bread people enjoy today. Every bite reminds you how valuable grain truly is. Nearby, other farmers sit quietly beneath nearby trees. Some eat in silence. Others simply close their eyes for a few peaceful moments before returning to work. No one wastes food. No one wastes time. The harvest depends on every hour of daylight. As you look across the countryside, golden fields stretch toward the distant hills. Wildflowers dance gently in the afternoon breeze. A pair of horses graze quietly beyond a wooden fence. Far away, the church tower rises above the village rooftops. Its stone walls have watched over generations of families. Some were born here, some grew old here, and many never traveled farther than the next village. Life is small, simple, and deeply connected to the land. You finish the last piece of bread, take one final sip of cool water, and sit quietly for just another moment. The warm sunlight filters gently through the leaves above. Your breathing slows. The wind continues its endless song across the fields. It is peaceful, almost timeless. But the afternoon is waiting. The work is not yet finished. With a quiet sigh, you stand once more, lift the worn wooden hoe onto your shoulder, and walk slowly back toward the waiting fields, where another long afternoon quietly begins.
The afternoon sun hangs quietly above the fields. Its warmth settles gently across the countryside. The cool breeze from the morning has faded. Now the air feels still and heavy. You return to your place among the other farmers. Without a word, you begin working once again. Each movement is slow, measured, familiar. Your boots sink slightly into the soft earth. The rich smell of fresh soil rises with every step. You kneel carefully beside a long row of young plants. One by one, you press each tiny seedling into the ground, a little deeper, a little firmer, always with hope. Hope that enough rain will fall. Hope that no storm will destroy the harvest. Hope that winter will be kind. In medieval England, hope is as important as hard work. Nearby, a pair of oxen pull a heavy wooden plough. Their steady footsteps never seem to hurry. The farmer walking beside them speaks softly. The animals know the path by heart. Together they have crossed these same fields countless times. A flock of swallows glides low above the crops. They twist and turn through the warm afternoon air before disappearing toward the distant trees. For a few peaceful moments, you stop working. You straighten your tired back and look across the countryside. The rolling hills seem endless. Golden fields shimmer beneath the sunlight. Small cottages rest peacefully in the distance. Thin streams of smoke rise into the blue sky. It is a beautiful view. Yet beneath that beauty, life remains difficult. Every family depends upon these fields. A poor harvest could mean a hungry winter. A long season of rain could ruin months of work. Nothing is guaranteed, not even tomorrow. Still, no one gives up. You wipe the dirt from your hands, take one slow breath, and continue planting. The rhythm becomes almost hypnotic. Reach, plant, cover the roots, move forward, reach again, plant again, again, and again. The steady pattern quiets your thoughts. Only the gentle sounds of nature remain. The whisper of the wind, the distant singing of birds, the soft footsteps of the oxen, and the quiet heartbeat of another ordinary afternoon. As the sun slowly begins its journey toward the western hills, long shadows stretch across the fields. The hardest part of the day is almost over, but there is still a little work left to do. So, with calm determination, you take another step forward and continue your peaceful journey through medieval England.
The afternoon begins to soften. The bright sunlight that filled the fields only a short while ago now turns warmer, gentler. Long shadows stretch across the rows of wheat. The air feels quieter than before. Even the birds seem to sing more softly. You continue your work at an unhurried pace. Each handful of wheat is carefully gathered. Each bundle is tied with simple straw. Nothing is rushed. Nothing is wasted. The harvest has taken months to grow. It deserves patience. Across the field, you notice an elderly farmer working alone. His movements are slow. His back is bent from a lifetime of labor. Yet he never stops. He simply smiles to himself and continues. In medieval England, hard work is not something to admire, it is simply life. The wind begins to move once again. It carries the sweet scent of ripe grain across the countryside. The endless fields sway together like gentle waves upon a quiet sea. For a moment, you stop to watch. The sight is peaceful, almost hypnotic. It is easy to forget the passing of time. Far in the distance, the stone church catches the warm afternoon light. Its bell tower stands above every cottage. For generations it has watched over this little village. The same bell has welcomed newborn children, marked weddings, and quietly said farewell to those who never saw another harvest. History lives quietly here, not in castles, not on battlefields, but in simple places like these. You take a slow breath. The smell of fresh hay fills the air. Somewhere nearby, a horse pulls a wooden cart loaded with bundles of grain. Its wheels creak gently along the uneven path. The sound fades into the distance. Clouds drift lazily across the sky. Their shadows move slowly over the fields. The day feels endless, yet peaceful. Your hands are tired now. Your shoulders ache. A thin layer of dust covers your clothes. But there is comfort in the familiar rhythm. Work, pause, breathe, and work once more. As the sun slowly sinks lower, its golden light covers the countryside. The entire village seems wrapped in a warm, quiet glow. Soon the day's work will finally come to an end. Home is waiting. A small fire, a simple meal, and a well-earned night of rest. But just for a little while longer, you remain here, walking slowly through the golden fields of medieval England, listening to the wind, and letting another peaceful day quietly slip into history.
The sun is beginning its slow descent. The bright afternoon light softens into a warm golden glow. The fields seem almost magical now. Every blade of wheat catches the last light of the day. The gentle breeze returns, cooler than before. It brushes softly across your face. You stop for just a moment, not because the work is finished, but because the countryside is simply too beautiful to ignore. Far across the valley, thin streams of smoke rise from the village chimneys. Families are beginning to prepare their evening meals. Children's distant laughter drifts across the fields before fading into silence. Soon it will be your turn to return home. But first, there is one final task. You gather the last bundles of wheat. Each one is carefully tied with straw. Nothing is left behind. Every grain could become tomorrow's bread. Nearby, 2 oxen pull a wooden cart toward the village. Its old wheels creak softly over the uneven ground. The horses move slowly. There is no reason to hurry. The day is nearly over. You wipe the dust from your hands. Your shoulders feel heavy now. Your legs are tired after hours of walking through the fields. Yet there is a quiet satisfaction in honest work. As the golden light spreads across the countryside, the village church bell rings once again. Its familiar sound floats gently through the cool evening air. 1, 2, 3 slow chimes. Each one echoes across the hills before disappearing into the distance. You take one final look across the fields. The wind ripples through the tall wheat like gentle waves upon a peaceful sea. Birds fly toward their nests. The sky slowly changes from bright blue to soft shades of gold, pink, and pale orange. It is one of those quiet moments that people rarely notice. A moment with no hurry, no noise, only nature breathing slowly around you. You lift your wooden hoe once more. Your small linen bag is now almost empty. The simple meal from earlier is only a memory. With slow, steady footsteps, you begin the journey back toward the village. The narrow dirt path feels familiar beneath your boots. Every step carries you closer to the warmth of your little cottage, closer to a small fire, a humble supper, and a peaceful night's rest. The stars will soon appear above medieval England, and another ordinary day will quietly become part of history.